And finally, the last figure out of the Aliens Series 1 from NECA, the Xenomorph Warrior, as stated down here on the packaging. This has got the brown shading. Apparently there's going to be a blue shaded version coming out in a 2-pack. I'm not sure if they're going to do a second wave that's going to have a blue shaded one individually. But according to the NECA website, that's one of the future packs. But we should be getting a Wave 2 information on these guys pretty soon. Back of the packaging there has like a video monitor kind of look to it. There has a lot of, you know, lines going across and all that. It shows the other figures available in the line. Has the same little paragraph that the other two figures had. This one has a says Crow T on there as the name of the Marine, looking at the alien there. So that's interesting. The last one's blank, flatlined at the top too. So that's pretty cool. I wondered how they were going to do that. Didn't really notice it when I first got these guys, but then when I saw the Hicks one and looked at the Hudson, I was like, I want to put it for the alien. But it's pretty cool. Got the same kind of video monitor kind of style going on there. Has them in a crouch down pose and all that. So pretty neat. Overall, the packaging looks great. It's a little shiny for my taste. I'll have to go back and look at the movie a little more critically and see if they're really that shiny, but it looks really slick. I've got 2 other versions of the same alien, and this one just seems kind of slick. The other ones aren't quite as shiny, but we'll compare them all. So let's crack this guy out of the packaging. We'll check him out, and then I'm going to do like a real quick evolution of Aliens figures here real quick, so stay tuned. Alright, yes, you too can have an alien that does this. How awesome is that? It's got a little alien squat going on. So you can hide up in the walls and everything kind of blend into all the crazy alien textures and stuff they've spit up onto the walls and everything. Yeah, but this guy's awesome. He's just as articulated as you want him to be. The sculpt is awesome. The paint's awesome. I can't say enough good stuff about NECA. But this guy does have his flaws. But first, we're going to go ahead and get into the articulation a little bit. Take a look at this sculpt while I got him all propped up. Such a cool little pose going on there and everything. Get his jaw closed. But yeah, he's really cool. We'll start at the top. He's got a like a ball jointed head, so you get some like side to side waggle and all that stuff. He does have a jointed jaw, and it's done in a it's not done in translucent plastic, which I was kind of disappointed in, because they kind of have that translucent ligature looking stuff, I guess you could call it, ligament kind of thing going on with the jaw and all that. And I've actually popped mine out of socket, so the other one that I have, it didn't pop out as easy, so it's like on a figure-to-figure basis. But yeah, you can get his little inner jaw out, which mine, it's like that beigey color, and it can go way out there. And then of course it tucks all the way back in. You can get the mouth closed like that. It does swing side to side fairly well. They got these nice soft I don't know, lines, whatever you want to call them, that go on there, and they get a lot of give in those. He's got ball jointed shoulders this time around. He has like a good swivel there, and it swivels in and out. And get him up. It's not like super mobile joint, but it looks really good. He has like a nice swivel upper bicep. He does have a double jointed with a kind of like a swivel ball on each end, and it's like super jointy elbow. It's awesome. It gives you as much elbow as you could want. And then he has like a ball jointed hand, wrist, whatever. He's got a ball jointed torso. He does have a wire bendy tail, and it's like super long. It's awesome. The wire doesn't go into the last 2 inches or so of the tail, which is fine because once you start getting wire in there, it starts poking out and stuff, and it's more hassle than it's worth. But it still looks pretty good, especially when you play with it for a while. It does have. Let's get these arms up out of the way. He does have the new ball jointed. We don't want to call it hips. You know, it comes in and out, up and down. He has like a soft, rubbery lower torso down here, so it looks pretty good. And then also it flows with the movements of the leg. Now he does have double jointed knees, and they bend up really good, like that, straight out all the way. And they are a little clicky, and this is one of the problems I have. They're not clicky enough to support his weight. It's really hard to get him to stand. You really got to fuss with it, whatever you want to say, to get these knees to support him properly. He does have an awesome, fairly well concealed ankle joint. It does swivel and pivot, and does the rock. It does everything you want an ankle to do. And this time around, he also has a pivot in the foot there, so you get a nice I don't know what kind of range of motion that is, but you can have it pointing all the way down, ballet style, you know, and then up quite a bit. And those are okay. They're on kind of a clicky joint too. It's a fairly stiff joint. It doesn't have as many clicks in it as you would like. But yeah, the knees, you can get them in some really cool poses. Unfortunately, the knees are not going to hold them. You can get them standing up okay, as I'm going to attempt to do right now. And we'll watch him make me into a liar. I mean, with the feet the way they are, he wants to support it. And you can do it with the tail, so I'm trying to cheat and not use the tail. But the knees are just not doing it for me. I mean, I'll fuss around and I'll get him into a position where he'll hold it. You know, it's no problem to get him into a position to hold a position. But it just means you can't get him into every single position you want him to get into. You got to kind of meet him in the middle and kind of fuss with it and compromise. And so that's my complaint number one. Complaint number two is there's no doggone peg holes, I guess, in the feet. And they could have been put in the ankle, in the extreme ankle, or even in the foot itself. It's definitely thick enough to accommodate a peg hole. So I may have to drill on this guy. But other than that, this guy is awesome. He's one of 4 that I'm going to end up with. I've got one to keep in the packaging that I've already separated him out because they painted his dome, the black area of his dome right there, like the part you would associate with the eyes. It's actually brown in the packaging, so it got a little too much paint on him. So I got this guy loose. I've got one I sent back because the leg snapped off. And I don't really want to complain about it because like some of these joints are really not super fragile, but you know, when you first get these out of the box, you kind of want to treat them with the kid gloves until you get all the joints all situated. But I did have his left leg snap off at the hip, right inside there where this ball joint connects to the crotch. And it seems like that joint was a little thin, so hopefully version 2.0 of this guy will have peg holes, super stiff, clicky knee and ankle joints, as well as thicker hip joints, and this guy would be what I would call perfect anyway for an alien action figure. But he's great. Don't let any of that deter you from buying him. I think he's freaking awesome. So I got 2 more on the way. I got my replacement, and I went and ordered 1 more. That way I'll have 3 of these guys loose. And that should be plenty for the Colonial Marines to fight. Just to show you the scale next to the human figures there. Let me show you with his put his little counterpart together. But yeah, on a scale 1 to 10, I'll give these guys a 9, just because everything is awesome about the sculpt and the articulation. But you know, they kind of listen to the fans, and they're putting these ball joints in, and had the same kind of problems with the Predator 2 figures with the ball joint hips. I don't have one of the yeah, I got the City Hunter. I don't have one of the Jungle Hunter with ball joint hips, but I've heard they've got like loose hip joints due to the new ball joint thing they got going on there. So maybe they can go back and re-engineer those a little bit. For me, I think a little bit of clear nail polish or floor polish slipped into the joints will probably do okay. I might get as adventurous as to heat up the joints, take them apart, heat them up again and get them closed up a little bit tighter, and then maybe try to put them back. But I'll probably just squeeze some extra material in there, like clear nail polish or floor polish or whatever. But yeah, 9.0 out of 10 for the NECA Aliens Series 1 Xenomorph Warrior. If you don't have one, get a hive. Alright, so somewhere along the lines of 1979, 1980, you had the first Alien action figure, and it was really cool, and it was an 18-inch tall figure. It had the jaw moved, had a clear dome, and it was articulated at the arms and legs and everything, and it was great. But unfortunately, I keep on passing on them because I keep on thinking I'm going to get it cheaper, and the longer I wait, the more expensive the doggone thing's getting. But I do have the ones that came out a little while after, as I'm putting it back together. But about 1992, I believe, Kenner released the their 5-inch figure line. I'm going to say 4-inch figure line, and this guy does not like going together for some reason. There he goes. All right, but essentially, it followed up on the heels, or actually, the resurrection of Star Wars in '95 followed on the heels of these guys, and they also had I think was it Kenner? Also had the Terminator line. That was out, and they were pretty cool. They had basically 5 points of articulation, 6 if you count the tail. Like this guy kind of spins around there, you can kind of hook it on stuff. It was a little flexible, but it wasn't, you know, super bendy flexible. Had the head turned, the arms, legs, you know, all that stuff was pretty cool. And they came with face huggers that fit over the human characters, you know, such as, you know, the Ripley figure there that I have. So that's pretty cool. But, you know, they're alright. And then 93, they came out with a 2-pack. And let me show you his feature real quick. This is the 92 Aliens and Alien 3 Alien. Kind of a little bit of both. It's supposed to really be the dog alien from the third Alien movie. But it looked a lot like the one from Aliens. And he explodes. Just like the Critter did in Alien 3 once he got the was the water dumped on him or whatever that cooled him off. Once he jumped out of the molten metal. But then we got the 2-pack. They came with the original 79 Alien and also the original Predator. And this set was really cool. He has the basic 6 points of articulation. Has a stylized sculpt, so you don't get a whole lot of, you know, you get him in a couple of poses, and that's really it. You can't really do a whole lot pose-wise. But he looks really cool. He has a transparent dome or translucent dome, nice dark purpley black tint. I know I was focusing earlier on it, but maybe you can kind of get a sense of it there. No moving jaws or anything, but you know, it's alright. All the basic Alien parts are there. Then they came out with the Alien 4 movie. They released like a few figures for that, which I thought they all sucked. I didn't buy any of them. But then along came NECA finally. And we got an update to the Alien sculpt. If I can back out here a little bit. A little bit, just like we practiced. And the sculpt was great and everything, but you know, it's still kind of lacking some stuff. Like it has like some nice cut joints, but no elbows, and other than the shoulders and the nice pivoty ankles, everything else was like a cut joint basically. So you have this real static thing going with the legs, and because of the way they did that, it's hard to get this guy to stand. Even using his tail, it's hard to get him to stand. But he looks really cool. This particular version, his mouth is molded shut. You don't get any mouth action on this one. And all that. So that's cool. This one came out in 2003, 2003, 2004. Let me double check that. 2004 it looks like. Alright, but then in 2008 they released another one, and this one, the sculpt was a little bit better. You did have elbow joints, however they were kind of crazy because the piece that comes across here is attached to after his elbow and right after the wrist. So his wrist swivel and stuff, they were kind of like really, I don't know if you can see that bending, but it's just really odd. It has like brown and blue paint on here. He does have a opening jaw, if I don't break it, and it does extend, if I can get in there without having to get the tweezers out again. Yeah, there it goes. And it opens up and all that. Has like the little lines right there. They're kind of brittle. It broke off on one side. I just haven't glued it back yet. But it's really good. It's a great, great sculpt. Has like a ball joint in here. And they did a lot of great things with this figure. Just the way they did some of the cut joints and stuff. They literally just went through, made a line, and cut it in several spots. And so you really were kind of limited in your articulation and posability because it looked kind of funny in some poses. And they did the same thing with the, because that was the Aliens alien. And then they did the same thing, same treatment with the 79 alien, which actually just it looks great. I love this guy. Get him to where he'll stand. There we go. He has the same extending jaw and all that, and it closes. But this one has the transparent skull or transparent dome with the humanoid-looking skull beneath it. Paint's great. It's got a silver and a little bit of a tannish spray job going on there. Has nice silver fingers and toes and all that. It looks really great. It looks a lot like the original Alien, but he still suffers from some of the same cut joints. But with this one, they changed out the ankle joints to where they're not quite as floppy. I guess they're just basically a pivot, and they don't have like a twist and all that. They're just a simple. They don't turn, but they do rock, and they're basically clicky joints, I guess. Yeah, so this guy's really good. He's like one of my favorites. Even though he doesn't have ball joints coming out of every socket, it's still done really, really well. And they'd be hard-pressed to do another one, even with the new joints, that is as good as this. Alright, and all this brings me up to the guy who's been standing around in the background, and that is the new 2013 Alien. And this guy's sculpt is awesome. His articulation is awesome. Unfortunately, he needed some tighter joints. That's the only real flaw I have on this guy. I mean, one of the earlier Aliens, he could really get his head down into his chest. I think it was the first one. I mean, this guy, he could really get it down in there. It's usually that really weird curled up pose that you see him in every now and then. So that's basically all the Aliens figures, with the exception of the original 18-inch. NECA did an 18-inch, which is probably, I don't have it, so I really can't say. It's probably the same as the their 79 version guy there. And then there was some really crappy, and did Kenner have the license for that? For the Aliens Resurrection figures, there was like a 9-inch baby alien, whatever you want to call it. There was a Sigourney Weaver and a oh, what's her name? The girl who was in the android girl who was in Resurrection. Winona Ryder. Yeah, they had those 3 figures, and I think they also did a couple of 12-inch figures right after that. And I think they did a Hicks and an Alien, and they may have even done a Predator. But those all, they kind of sucked. I mean, they really kind of sucked. The posability and the sculpt were just kind of lacking, and I passed on them. Alright, just another quick note on these guys, on the sculpts. They don't share any parts. They're all newly sculpted figures. Like, they don't share any parts. So if you're like, oh, I don't want another one, well, technically they're all different. Even though they look the same, once you're looking at the sculpts side by side, they're all sculpted differently. Definitely the new one is all new, just because of all the new joints and everything, which you would expect that. But the 2 older ones, they don't share any joints whatsoever. The heads are totally different. One's got a solid head with no jaw. The other one has a jaw. And the way the arms are done is completely different. The way the legs are done is similar, but different, especially the ankles. So yeah, all three of them, of the aliens Xenomorph, are completely different. So that's awesome. I like to see a company going through all the evolution and the paces of actually trying to improve their product and changing stuff up. It's great when they have like a really good body and it's shared across the line and all that. Even like when they did the parts that they shared with our intrepid Marines here, they did a good job with the parts share. But that's kind of like a gimme, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't enough stuff they could have done that would have warranted them to have a lot of new sculpting, especially like the legs and stuff. But it's really cool to see across the years how they actually change the way they view the articulation and everything for the aliens. So that's awesome. Good job, NECA. I love you guys. Keep on rocking. Hope to see a bunch of you at Comic-Con here coming up pretty soon.